Hello, everybody, and welcome to Calculus 1. To begin, let me just repeat my apology from my email. I'm sorry that we have to be introduced this way. This is not optimal to have our first couple of days of class gone and me having to give you videos like this. But as I said, on Wednesday, the first day of class, I'm out of town. On Friday, I have to be at the hospital for my wife's surgery. And over those 2 days, we just can't afford to do nothing. Okay, there's a lot of material we have to cover in the course. We can't afford to miss 2 days of class. So we're sort of doing one day of class via videos. So we're going to do a couple of short videos on the syllabus and then a short video on chapter 1, which is just a review of pre-calculus. So in class, that would just be one day. So we are sort of missing one day of class. We just can't miss two. Okay, so in this video here, I just want to go over the syllabus with you as quickly as possible. All of you are literate and can read, so I don't need to read this to you, but there are some highlights I want to hit, and there's some things I really want to emphasize moving forward. So before we do that, let me just remind you of one other thing. When we get back to class on Monday, so we're gone Wednesday and Friday, when we get back to class on Monday, there will be a quiz. It's going to cover these videos. The quiz is not hard, okay? It's not meant to intimidate you. It's not meant to be a nuisance, whatever. I just need you to have watched these videos. I need you to have understood the course policies and understood what Chapter 1 is all about. So if you want to, you can show up with some handwritten notes to take on the quiz. But again, this is not meant to be difficult. Okay, I'm not trying to slap your grade down first thing. I just want to make sure you've watched, you've read the syllabus and you've thought about what's in there and what's in Chapter 1. Part of the quiz grade is whether or not you have a WebAssign registration for this class. So I'll talk about what that is in a second, but that's just sort of free points there. By the time we show up, you should have registered for WebAssign. If you have trouble with that, you should, of course, email me. Okay, and I should say again, right, like questions over a syllabus, these are not going to be nitty gritty like, hey, on what date is your first exam or whatever, right? I don't care about that. Just sort of like, I just want to make sure that you have read sort of the general policies. So for example here, there are some things at the bottom that are like, hey, how can you be successful here? I might ask you to tell me one of these things. Okay, there's 7 of them, right? And they're kind of common sense. So that's the kind of question I'll ask. Okay, so anyway, so don't be intimidated by that. Just make sure you've watched these and thought about it a little bit. Okay, so I'm Dr. McCune, email address, office location, office hours, etc. Let me just emphasize office hours. I'm just sitting in here with my door open, waiting for you to come by and ask questions. You don't need to ask if you can come by. You don't need to let me know ahead of time that you are coming by. You can just stop by, okay? And I'm sitting here just waiting for people to come talk to me. If these times don't work for you, if for whatever reason you're busy all Tuesday morning and you want to meet some other time, you can. You just have to let me know. That's what this I'm available by appointment thing is. If you need help and you can't come by during those times, I'll find a time to help you. It's not a big deal. You just have to let me know. And that can include, by the way, Skyping from my house. So I have several times Skyped with students like after my kids have gone to bed or whatever. Okay. This course description and course objective stuff, this is sort of boilerplate stuff from the course catalog. This prerequisite is important, though. You need to have taken a pre-calculus class or have pre-calculus knowledge. If you don't know how to solve, say, quadratic equations, if you don't know what sine and cosine are, right, trigonometry, things will go poorly for you in this class, okay? You just have to have some sort of foundation of knowledge to understand the calculus. Let me just say, I mean, if you cut through all the boilerplate course catalog language here, it's just trying to say technically what calculus is. So let me just give you a high-level description of this course briefly. What is calculus? Very briefly, calculus is the study of change, trying to quantify change. So in the world, things change, right? Sometimes things change quickly or slowly or whatever, right? Calculus just tries to quantify that. So that's a very brief description, but basically, when you put it that way, you can see why it's useful, right? It's hard to imagine scenarios where nothing changes. Things are always moving, right? Temperature's always going up and down or whatever. And so calculus gives you a mathematical way of analyzing things like that. The textbook is Early Transcendentals 7E or 8E. You can use either one. You actually don't need a physical textbook. Okay, you can just use the ebook in the homework system in WebAssign. It just needs to say Early Transcendentals if you have a book. Stuart has other books. Okay, course webpage. So stuff related to the course will be posted on Moodle. All of you should have Moodle access by now. Let me just show you what that webpage looks like for us. This is our Moodle page for this course, Calculus 1. The official title is Math 109, Fall 19. If you scroll down a little bit, there's not much there right now because the course is new. But the syllabus is there, the schedule is there. Paper homework assignments will be posted there. So this one's already up. It says due August 28th. That's that Tuesday or that Wednesday. Sorry, the Wednesday after we get back. So anyway, I just put stuff there. It's just a repository of our stuff. So when it comes time to review for exams, I'll put exam reviews in there, things like that. Okay, so attendance, you should attend class. If you need accommodations, they will be provided to you. If you have some sort of learning disability or something that requires extra exam time, accommodations will be provided to you. Just let Missy Henry know. And there's her contact information. This section just says you shouldn't cheat. Hopefully all of you know what cheating is and that you should not do it. Okay, the consequences can be quite severe. Preparation time. So this is a 4 credit hour course. The rule of thumb is if you ask how much time should I be spending on this course outside of class time? And the rule of thumb is, well, take the number of credit hours and double it. So that's where I get this 8 from. So 8 hours per week, mostly doing homework, but studying, looking at examples in the textbook and things like that. So if you're not spending anywhere close to that, maybe you can still succeed, that's fine. But if you're struggling in the class and you're spending nowhere near this number on the class, right, that would be an indication that something has gone wrong. Okay, let me just conclude this part 1 by briefly talking about the homework for the course. We have 2 kinds of homework, online, paper. Online is through WebAssign, which I'll show you in a second. Paper is done on paper, as suggested, right? Okay, so WebAssign, to register, here's webassign.net. If you don't have an account yet, the first thing you do is click on Enter Class Key. So if I click on that, it gives you a space to type in the class key. That's what this thing is here. So you would type that in and then click Enroll. That class key, as the name suggests, is a key to our class. It tells WebAssign what class you're talking about. Math 109 at William Jewell College, fall of 2019. Beyond that, though, WebAssign, it is a very sophisticated system, right? It costs money to run, so it costs money to access. You will need a second code that you purchase that's specific to you. That code comes with your textbook if you buy a new textbook, or you can just buy the code separately. I might suggest buying the code separately because it's far cheaper to do that, and then you get an ebook inside of the system. So you don't necessarily need a physical book. Okay, online homework is due every Tuesday night at midnight, is what that's saying. Okay, then the next day in class on Wednesday, you'll turn in a paper homework assignment. Those are usually pretty short compared to the WebAssign ones. The reason I do paper also is that on exams, I don't just grade your answers, I also grade your work. So if the only work you're doing is inside WebAssign, it's possible you get correct answers a lot of the time. But it's also possible your work might not get full credit, right? Maybe your work is sloppy or unclear or whatever, So the reason we do paper homework also is just to have a way for me to give you feedback on how you present your work, so that when an exam comes around, you should be clear on how you'll be graded. Okay, no late homework. except an emergency. Note, athletic, travel, or whatever is not an emergency, and you will get some stuff dropped. Okay, so let's break this video into 2 parts, so I'm not posting a 20-minute video to YouTube or whatever. So we'll come back and pick up where we left off in the next part.